Greetings, my scattered sisters and brothers in the Lord. Trust you know that the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and that you know that his presence is more than enough for whatever you might face today. We are still in John chapter 15. You'll recall that Jesus has said, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, and the branches that are bearing fruit, he prunes, he cleanses, so that they will be even more fruitful. Jesus tells his disciples that they have already been cleansed by the word that he has spoken to them. Jesus goes on to tell them, remain in me, and I will remain in you. No branch can bear fruit apart from the vine. Neither can you bear fruit apart from remaining in me. Now, that's what we want to focus on today, and we'll focus on it really a couple of times. About remaining in Jesus is the key to bearing fruit. Now, the fruit, probably two directions to go with this fruit. Some might think of this fruit more in terms of producing or bearing witness to people who don't know the Lord, and they get saved and they become believers, they become children of God. And so fruitful in terms of bearing fruit, producing new Christians. Others might think of this fruit primarily in terms of the fruit of the Spirit, primarily in terms of the transformation that takes place in one's life, so that we begin to live more like Jesus, we begin to love more like Jesus, we begin to serve more like Jesus. And so the fruit would be the changes that take place in my own life, not so much in terms of witnessing to someone else so that they become a Christian. Well, it probably includes both, that the fruit in terms of fruitful ministry to others, but also the fruit in terms of transformation of my own life. See, the key is that the fruit only happens if we remain in Jesus. That apart from Jesus, we can do nothing. Apart from Jesus, our lives are unfruitful. That the only way for a vine to bear, or a branch to bear fruit, is if it remains in the vine. If I cut off a branch from my tomato plant, doesn't matter how many blossoms are on that branch that I cut off, if I cut it off from the vine, then it's going to wilt and it's not going to bear any fruit. Same thing with us. If we do not remain in Jesus, we will produce no fruit. Now, this is what I'm kind of wrestling with this. I think so often we try to bear fruit, produce fruit by ourselves without realizing that the only way the fruit comes is by remaining in Jesus. I think sometimes in our preaching and our teaching, our witnessing to others, we want to see change, we want to see transformation, we want to see life done right, but we forget that it only gets done right by remaining in Jesus. I had a mentor professor, Dr. Carver, and Dr. Carver used to challenge us that we better not preach moralisms. And by that he meant we better not just preach and tell people what they need to do. That most people already know what they need to do. They know they need to witness more. They know they need to love more. They know they need to share more. They know what they need to do in order to live right. His point was that doesn't help us any. We know what we need to do. Our problem is actually doing it. That what we need is power to do what we need to do, power to bear fruit. And I think so often in the Christian life, we know the fruit that we need to bear, but we somehow lose sight that the only way we'll bear that fruit is by remaining in Jesus. And it's like we try to produce the fruit ourselves, whether it's new Christians, whether it's changes in our lives, but we end up trying to live the Christian life almost apart from Christ. So, wherever you are scattered today, Be fruitful, yes, but know that the only way that you will bear fruit is by remaining in Jesus. If you're trying to produce fruit, whether it's a change in how you live or whether it's seeing others come to know Jesus, if you're trying to produce that fruit apart from remaining in Jesus, it will be fruitless effort and very frustrating effort at that. So, wherever you're scattered, remain in the vine. God bless. Have a great day and be fruitful in Jesus.